All right, I'm making the executive decision here. Out with the helicoils. I just don't like how they come out, how they came out so easily. And I mean, even this. They come out very easily. And I could try a time cert, but with those, well, they cost quite a bit more, so I didn't buy one. But the reason I didn't think those might work well is they require a countersink into the material, and I already am low on material here with 1/4 inch. So with the countersink, I just don't think it would be enough grab in the material. Could be wrong. So I'm going to clean this up, and I'm going to try my best at welding again. I am happy I did this. I'm hoping there is no issue with clearance. We're going to figure that out. But I really got spooked when that helicoil fell off. Now for the top too, I was worried because it's pretty close to the top here, and I thought I might not have enough clearance. So I went and test fit it and come to realize these 2 bolts are exposed. So I don't need to weld these on at all. I could, but it's probably better if I don't, just in case they strip in the future, which I wouldn't expect. But so I don't need to weld these. I can put these on. So in this whole process, I didn't take the water pump off, and I don't think I'm going to. In the 77 Maintenance Manual supplement, they actually show the installation of the timing chain cover with the water pump attached. Yeah, they show the dude holding onto it and fitting it in. So I'm not going to take this off. I'm going to set it all up, bolt it down, torque these to spec, and then install. Okay, all ready to go back on. So I just need to dry fit it again tomorrow and make sure that I have clearance. I lightly touched it with the sander, but okay, yes, this is the 3rd time I am putting this on. And if you didn't notice, I didn't put the gasket on first. So I spend a lot of time putting this together before I realized. So I'm gonna show you a couple other things, and then we'll pick up with attempt number 4 after that. So one thing I found about the chain lift that I got going here, the come along, I just don't trust it all that much for lifting this thing very well. And when I take the motor mount off, it falls down just slightly, such that I can't get the motor mount back on easily unless I lift the engine up. And I found the easiest way, if I can get this on here right, is just to use a jack right at this point. Mount it on the crossbar. It is touching this bolt that's holding the fuel line, but it's not touching the fuel line, and it's not in the way of the steering behind it. So I just lift this a bit. Enough so that I can get this guy started. So keep in mind that at this point I still do not have the timing cover gasket on, so all of this is coming back off. But I did want to show you my escapades with a harmonic damper. I decided to put a new one on. I didn't really need to, but the one that I chose, once I fully pressed it on, it seemed way too tight fitting against the motor mount.
I'm nervous here because this thing has a counterweight on it, which is now very close to the motor mount. I don't want to get too close.
Well, if there's anything good to come out of my mistakes, I'm pretty sure that it was not wise to continue with this new harmonic balancer, given what I was worried about when I was putting it in, and this counterweight getting very close to the motor mount. Alright, final time we're assembling the timing chain cover and pretty much following directly out of the maintenance manual. I'm using the 7778 supplement, which is really for the 403 engine, but it has some good guidance here. And it talks about cutting and chamfering the gasket on the bottom, so that's what I'm doing.
Gonna press that down. All right, can anyone spot the difference? Gasket. Let's do it one more time. So if you notice here, I installed the timing cover and let the gasket sit up, and then I came back in and installed the motor mount. I figured it's easier than trying to do it all at the same time. That's right. You see me using 2 torque wrenches. Well, gauges. I got a regular torque wrench, and then I got this digital gauge. And it proved to be, it confirmed the torque wrench was accurate.
I felt it when I was trying to get this one in. It wouldn't start, and I felt a thread at the end. So I think there's a thread that's come out at the end of this hole. So that's why I was careful putting this longer one in. I'm not going to torque this yet. Goodness. But I'm going to get 50 pounds on these others. Now, I will mention that when I took this apart, this bolt was basically loose. So, pretty sure it was probably stripped before. Came out pretty clean. Well, it at least takes the torque.
Going back to the original harmonic damper here, just cleaned up and painted so I can see the timing mark. So we're pretty much near the end, and you would think this is almost done. But of course, nothing with this project was easy. So once I got it all hooked up, started the engine up, and water literally poured out of the water pump at the gasket. So I took it off, and I put a new gasket on, and this time I did not use Permatex at all. I just put the gasket on straight, and it sealed perfect. I also had a problem with the fuel pump leaking at the gasket. And the same thing, I had used Permatex Gray on that. I redid it just with the gasket itself, and it was fine. It was perfect. So I think from now on, for gaskets like this, the lesson to me is don't use Permatex. Now, I did use a lot of Permatex, on the timing cover gasket, but I'm not noticing any oil leaking from that yet. So we'll see. The other problem I had once I got a little further was getting the power steering pulley and alternator pulley aligned. In particular, the power steering pump bracket is real finicky, and I just cannot get it perfectly aligned. And the real problem is if I tighten up the belts too much, the power steering pump will have this odd, intermittent kind of clanking noise. very intermittent. You can drive for a while and get nothing, but under a load you'll get some clanking. Now, if I loosen the belts, then I get a squealing on the, I think the alternator pulley. So I did get it kind of situated good enough to go on a couple long trips, and it was okay. But now that the belts are, because they were new, now that the belts are wearing in, I'm noticing it chirping again. So I still have another project to figure out this power steering pump and bracket. So that's next on my list. But otherwise, very happy with the end result, and I do have some videos showing the vacuum gauge readings before and after, and they're worth watching because it's very noticeable. And more than anything, wow, the power. It's very noticeable. I have a very steep driveway coming up, and I can really tell, as well as my gas mileage did get better by almost 2 miles per gallon, but time will tell. So hope you enjoyed, hope it helps.